Back to the Real Estate Lifestyle Radio Show. I'm your host, Jim Canale, America's real estate cash flow expert, and you're listening to the Real Estate Lifestyle Radio Show. I have with me in the studio right now Joe Hurst, Vic Milbourne,
Hello.
And John McCormick, and
Hello.
we're going to get into the mechanics of John's deal now. I know you've been waiting because you want to hear, how did this guy make $15,000 in an hour? Well, you know what? I'm not even going to tell you. I'm going to let Vic and Joe ran this whole, Vic and John ran this whole deal from top to bottom. So I'm just going to kind of kick back and let them run this segment of the show and let them tell you exactly what happened. I might provide a little color commentation with Joe, but from this point forward, it's your guys' show. Have a good time, guys. So you start here.
Well, first I want to start with the 3-day class and where John started in the process, where we met John on actually a bus trip going actually through the properties that through properties where investors really make their money, through property after property, show them what the rehab is like and how you do a rehab and how you evaluate and estimate the costs. And during that process, John pulled me aside and said, "Hey man, can we really do this? Can we get this done? I think I really want to try this. I've wanted to do this all my life." And I said, "Yeah, if you want to do it, you can do it." Remember that, John?
Absolutely. Like that's yesterday.
And we're pulling through the process. A couple days went by, and John says, "Hey, I think I found a deal. I want to take a look at it." And we went to look at it, and it was a terrible, terrible deal. It's a terrible deal. But that's why John has a team of people that he plug into, thanks to Joe and Jim, where he can call somebody and say, "Hey, can you just be some fresh eyes on this for me? Can you take a look at this for me? I think I may have found a gold mine, but I'm not really sure." And in John's case, he found a piece of coal that time.
Right. And it happens.
And nor did he want to spend the time to get the diamond out of it.
And that's also the learning process.
Mm-hmm.
That's also the learning process. That's called, starting in the beginning, right? So we learn how to walk first, and then we learn how to jog, and then we learn how to run, then we learn how to sprint. And if you call a $15,000 profit in an hour, a slow walk, well, all right, by all means, okay? But I'm thinking that's a pretty good payday off the first deal. Go ahead.
Right, and what you need to get that done is you need a coach. You ever see the boxers, and we say, why does this guy need the guy in the corner to tell him to keep his hands up? Why doesn't he just know that? He's a boxer. He should know that thing. But you need somebody who's on the outside to evaluate what you're doing and where you're going and knowing what your goals are, so we can say, we want to get you to the other side. We want to get you that knockout. We want to get you that KO. We're going to go to the body first and then go to the head later on. So that was John. I said, well, look, John, tell me what your goals are, and we'll get a feel for it, and then we'll find a deal from there, and we'll work together to see exactly where we can fit it. Do you remember how?
I do. And I learned a lot from that 3-day class, and you can learn a lot from any class you take and anything you buy on TV. So when I left the class, the next day, I was looking at properties, and contacting agents and walking through properties and kind of doing the steps that I learned in the class. However, I was still not an expert.
Right, but through that education process, you learned enough to know what direction you wanted to go and what your goal was.
Oh yeah.
And it's an interesting thing too. Most of us, we have that head chatter, the little voice, Jim, you like to call it, and I like to call it the little devil. Because if you can visualize the angel and the devil on your shoulder. So quite often we don't have the angel, we only have the devil. That's that little devilish chatter that keeps chattering. Right? Exactly.
That negativity.
And the reality of it is, you're walking out.
No one's ever going to buy it.
And you're walking out there and you're trying to invest and whatnot.
The sky is falling.
And you're hearing this little voice in the back of your head, and you're going, "Is this a good deal? Is this not a good deal?" and whatnot. And having that angel, and I really believe it's the people who've done it, been there and done that. That's really going to be that angel on your shoulder, for lack of better terms. It's going to be able to kind of counterbalance the head chatter and make sure you're not getting yourself into trouble. Making sure that little devil doesn't take over.
Right. That's absolutely fantastic. I like the way Joe calls himself an angel there on the side.
Yeah, I'm sure you do.
But hey, if somebody saves me $50,000, I guess they are an angel.
That's an angel.
If they save you from yourself.
Right. All right, get us through the numbers real quick.
Okay, so we had this property. It's on the 5500 block of Locus Street, which is just outside the University of Pennsylvania area of the city. And I take John over there and I say, "Hey John, take a look at this property. Let me show you why this property fits your goal." First of all, John said, "Listen, I have this much money and I want to put myself into a flip, but I don't quite have enough money to get into that deal. So I said, look, we'll put you over to a bank and we'll have the bank pay for the deal and make you the profit. How's that sound?"
Yeah, and it sounded great. I was going to use other people's money. You can't argue with that.
Yeah.
Exactly what you were taught.
Right, so we find this deal, this horrible looking property, which is all on YouTube, by the way, every week of it. And the back wall's falling out, the kitchen sunk in. It's a four bedroom property. It's got mold in it. It's got fire damage. And John walked through it like a pro. John walked through it like an absolute pro. Oh well, I look it. I like it. If the numbers fit, let's do it. The property cost $35,000. And the actual price that it appraised for after it was all fixed up was $126,000. So we put together a plan on Jim's buy low, sell low strategy to sell it for anywhere between $115 and $120. So that was our goal. And he's purchasing it for $35,000. So the rehab in this place, is about $40,000. I think it was $42 to be exact, but just to make the numbers easy, it's about $40,000. So John took a look at it. We had a structural engineer come out. We had an appraiser come out, look at the property, tell us exactly what it's going to appraise for. John did his due diligence. We looked all through the property and he said, "Hey, I think we can get this. I think I'm comfortable doing this deal here." We looked at the neighborhood. All the properties in the neighborhood were fixed up, and it was basically just a dog property
on the block.
Yeah, on the block of owner on a block of owners.
Yeah.
It was a dog. It was the worst property in the best neighborhood.
So it's a win-win because automatically you're creating value, and that's what a real estate investor's job is, to create value inside of a product.
Exactly, and the value is really easy to say. And it's a 4-bedroom property, which is already like a bonus out there in Philadelphia because you get a 4-bedroom property.
Mm-hmm.
So we had a great market. It's right outside University of Pennsylvania. Mm-hmm. So we already know that right there it's in a great location.
So how much money did you have in this, John?
I put in $35,000 for the purchase, and the rehab was about $40,000. So, and this was a wholesale deal, so I had an assignment fee to actually purchase the whole deal.
Okay.
So.
So all told, then I guess the bank pick up the rest then?
That's correct.
Okay, so walk us through the process then. You got the $35,000 plus the rehab. From that point on, I mean, obviously Victor's walking you through the whole deal.
Yeah. Well, the bank financed the entire rehab.
Nice.
So it was really just the acquisition cost that I had to take care of.
Okay, so you're putting $35,000 in, and you're getting how much back out?
And I ended up getting a profit of $15,000. All said and done.
That's just shy of a 50% return on your money there.
Mm-hmm, absolutely.
Okay, well, getting that in your 401ks lately.
That's much better than any investment I did this year.
Well, here's a better question. How many people listening right now would like a $15,000 raise?
Right.
That's really what this is, isn't it, Joe?
Absolutely. It's a raise, and I didn't really have to do a whole lot of work for it.
All right, so let's contrast and compare real quick. The day you showed up at work, the place you've been working at for 5 years, okay? You sit down that day to start doing some work or whatever?
Yeah, that's correct.
And then what happens? Your manager walks up to you?
Manager and the vice president of something called me into the office and it's basically said, we appreciate the time you gave us, but we all know what the economy's doing right now, and unfortunately we have to make some cuts. So I was out of there pretty quickly. So
tag you're in.
Yeah, I was a little shocked and
how did you
take it back,
feel?
but and I was nervous. What's going to happen? I rely on this job for my livelihood. But however, I was already in this real estate deal. So it's everything I learned in class just came back in that instant. You can't rely on your job. You can't rely on your investments and whatnot to get you through life.
So now you're sitting at the closing table, and the bank is stroking you a check for an extra $15,000, right? Yeah. On top of the money that you put into the deal. You get this other $15,000. What does it feel like at that moment?
I felt great. I felt like I was going to jump out of my seat. Again, this is something I can do every quarter, just initially. I mean, I'm on a path now to make an additional $60,000 a year, and this is just starting. This is just the beginning. Yeah. I mean, the sky's the limit.
Did you think like this before?
No. I mean, it's always something I wanted to do, but I never see, the realization of that dream that I had. So, not only did I learned everything I learned at this class, but once I left the class with Jim and Joe, I had a whole team of coaches that I could always go back to and rely on and work with. So
put the experience to work.
Exactly.
So, final question, final Jeopardy. Somebody's sitting on the fence. They're like, I don't know if I should come out, et cetera, et cetera. What do you have to tell them?
If I can do it, believe me, anybody can do it. So go out to the free class. It's the first step. There's no risk at all. I did it, and